Governor Bush.
How we doing? Good to see
All right,
you,
good.
man.
How you doing? I was wondering, would you be in favor of seeing the 28 pages that have been redacted from the 9/11 Commission report? Would you
sure.
be wanting to see those released?
Yeah, I'd like to see them. You got them?
Well,
Andrea may have them.
Hopefully we can get them.
Oh, the Bushes do not want those 28 pages released. But you know what? Hillary Clinton also will not say whether or not she has seen the 28 pages. Of course, these are classified, or are they, classified, according to President Obama. Now, Hillary was asked twice on Monday whether she has seen the 28 pages, and both times she dodged the question. She was actually the New York Senator at the time, so this would be something that would be really important to her, it seems. But she dodged the question, and she said that the Obama administration should take a hard look at them and determine whether that should be done consistent with national security. And she also said, "I'm not commenting," when asked have she read the papers. Now, she was on a tour with New York Senator Chucky Schumer at the time, and he has introduced legislation that would allow the families of 9/11 victims to sue the Saudi government if it is found to have contributed to the terrorists. So very interesting there. And of course, a couple of weeks ago, Saudi Arabia warned of economic fallout if Congress would dare pass this 9/11 bill. Saudi Arabia told the Obama administration and members of Congress that, it's just going to be forced to have to sell off hundreds of billions of dollars worth of American assets held by the kingdom if Congress passes this bill, so making this veiled threat. Now, the Obama administration has been lobbying Congress to block this bill's passage, and officials have warned senators of diplomatic and economic fallout from this legislation. So I think it's safe to say that whatever's in those 28 pages is definitely going to be implicating Saudi Arabia. Now, this New York Times article points out that several outside economists are skeptical that the Saudis are going to follow through. They say such a sell-off would be difficult to execute. It would end up crippling the kingdom's economy. And now the administration has argued that this legislation is going to put Americans at legal risk overseas. And they've been lobbying so intently against this 9/11 bill that it's infuriating lawmakers as well as the families there of the 9/11 victims. They're saying, once again, the Obama administration is consistently siding with Saudi Arabia, thwarting their efforts to learn what they believe to be the truth about the role that some Saudi officials played in the terrorist plot. So nothing new there with the Obama administration siding against the American people. But even if this is an empty threat by Saudi Arabia, even if they really couldn't do it, if it was going to hurt their own economy, it shows that they're worried about what is in the 28 pages, and in fact, they know that they're going to be held liable. Now, investigative journalist and Hoover Institution media fellow Paul Sperry was appearing on Breitbart News Daily, and he is the author of Infiltration: How Muslim Spies and Subversives Have Penetrated Washington. And he was on there to discuss all the interviews that he's had with intelligence and law enforcement officers who, he says, virtually every road from the 9/11 attacks led back to the Saudi embassy in Washington, as well as the Saudi consulate in LA. But investigators were constantly told to back off from pursuing those leads. He said his book documents how the Saudi machine has financed a number of front organizations, including but not limited to radical mosques, and he expects the 28 pages will fit neatly with many of the other classified documents that he has been reviewing. He says these 28 pages are explosive. They name names of individuals complicit in the attacks. They're all clearly identified, and the facilitators and handlers for the hijackers, the financiers, and the bagmen, they're all identified. So, are these the officials that were flown out on private jets immediately following the 9/11 attacks, even though all planes were supposed to be grounded? So this is explosive, what's happening here with these 28 pages, and you can see why so many people are against them being declassified. But Sperry also points out that it's time to end this suicidal, phony alliance with Saudi Arabia, pointing out that we are sharing intel with them at this very moment, that we are arming them, we're sending them weapon systems, we're rubber stamping all of their student visas. They're still funding jihadists, which we know that. We can see what's happening in the Middle East. They're funding jihadists all around the globe, and they're still building radical mosques here. Sperry says we've got to stop the madness. The Saudis are operating a massive counterintelligence program against us right here in America, and we're letting it happen. And indeed, David Knight has been reporting on several instances of these radical mosques and how we're being infiltrated from within. So definitely some very explosive revelations to be expected with this 28 pages. And you need to petition to your elected representatives to demand that they read the 28 pages. Many people who are allowed to actually read the 28 pages haven't even done so. So you need to make sure that you call your elected representative. We'll put that website up for you on the screen where you can find out who represents you, but you need to demand that they read these 28 pages and demand that they be declassified, and also push through this legislation that would allow the 9/11 families to sue Saudi Arabia, anyone connected with this. This is very important.